Let's introduce you to Shelley Carney, who is associate producer of the Albuquerque 48-Hour Film Project and the Film Horror Project going on. And Ashley Heffron with the, you founded the New Mexico Fright Fest.
That's correct.
What a name.
It's an epic name for an event that we hope becomes an epic event.
Oh, this is the first one.
This is our very, very first year.
Ooh, okay. How scary is it going to get?
It's going to get pretty scary. We have some really top-notch films this year. I'm really excited about it.
Now, tell us what exactly Fright Fest is.
Fright Fest is New Mexico's first horror film festival that's solely dedicated to honoring both A-list and independent films from around the world. We have a couple of films from New Mexico this year, but most of our films actually came out of Australia, Ireland, and various other places in the U.S.
Wow. And you're going to have some classics too, huh?
We have some classic throwbacks. We're not actually showing any films that were previously made, as far as like, Alfred Hitchcock or anything like that. But we do have, we have a film from New Mexico called Rabid Love that's definitely an 80s horror film throwback, and it's going to be fantastic.
Oh.
We have a trailer, is that right, Dan? Yeah, let's do it. We have a horror film trailer, and this is a local film. You're going to see it. Well, let's just check it out. Here it is. Okay. Yikes.
Yeah, that one is actually not one of our local films. That one is
okay.
That one is from Australia, but it's one of our short films. It's probably about 5 minutes long, but it's intensely scary. So they did a fantastic job. It kind of leaves you guessing. It's more of a psychological thing than really, blood and guts gore.
Now, Shelley, your project's a little different.
Right, the 48-Hour Film Project is introducing a brand new competition this year with a horror competition. All the films will be horror-based and will be subgenres of horror. So we'll still have our kickoff where everybody gets their subgenre, their line of dialogue, their prop, and their character, and they go out and write, they shoot, and they edit and bring in their film 48 hours later and drop it off. And it's all going to be horror. Now, the reason we brought our two events together is because this is our first year doing horror, and this is their first year, and we're sort of ended up bookending each other. So our shoot happens, and then the film festival happens, and then we have our showing at the Chemo with all of the films that were made the week before, and then a couple days later we'll have an awards ceremony and costume party for our filmmakers.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So the actual event is this weekend, right?
The shooting goes on this weekend. We're going to have the kickoff this Friday. Yeah.
Nice.
This is when film crews get no sleep for about 2 days.
That's true. They go to town and they all get out there. Right now they're getting together with their teams. They're creating some fake blood, and they're getting their costumes and their props ready. They're getting their location scouted, and then Friday they come here to get their subgenres so they can start writing the script and start shooting it on Saturday.
Wow.
How do they pick the categories? Is it just a drawing?
It's drawn out of a hat. That's
Really?
right. Some of the categories might include B-movie or psychological thriller or slasher or ghost movie or
Monster?
vampires. We have monster creature
Hey,
features.
good.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Oh, man.
So when do we actually get to see all the movies?
Our movies will be shown at the Chemo on October 27th. We have a screening at 6 and another one at 8, and the general public is invited to that. It's $10 per show.
And the Fright Fest.
For Fright Fest, we're doing it October 24th through the 26th at the South Broadway Cultural Center. We're starting about noon, and we'll start with some of our lighter films, so if you want to bring your kids, it should be okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll actually be doing the award ceremony the night of the 26th.
Oh, okay. And you mentioned something about a costume contest?
We are having an event at the Art Bar where everybody can dress up, and we're going to have a costume prize, and we're also going to be doing our awards ceremony for the winning films that night.
Very nice.
That's right up your alley, Erin.
It
I
is,
know, 'cause
literally.
you're into it. You're into it. What is it about the horror genre that grabs people? What do you think it is?
Well, one of the things is a lot of beginning filmmakers start out with horror because it's cheaper to make and simpler, and it can really take off, such as Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch Project. Very simple, very cheap to make, and they really took off.
And it gets that audience emotionally engaged quickly.
It does. Yeah, it's frightening.
It's nothing like getting a good scare out of the movies, right?
And I think like people crave that, just, that scare.
The adrenaline of it
Yeah,
all.
exactly. I think a lot of it is that, around this time of year, people are looking for something that's going to send chills up their spine.
Gets them into the Halloween spirit or the Dia de los Muertos celebration. Yeah.
Now, you two don't look like the horror movie types at all. I mean, you walked in here and you go, well, these are the horror film people. Really? What, is this something you've been fascinated with all your movie-going life?
Yeah, I think for me it extends outside of the movies, but a lot of it is that I love horror films, not even just actual suspense thriller, leave you on the edge of your seat. I love comedy, horror, things like that. So I think that there's a lot of different parts of horror that can be adapted into different films and things like that are just really interesting.
Oh. Wow.
Time for my annual viewing of Young Frankenstein.
That's
I still love that movie. Comedy horror you're talking about?
Yeah. I love Gene. He's an amazing actor. So funny.
I finally watched that movie Hitchcock, and it's really crazy to actually see inside the mind of him.
Yeah.
And some of these directors are brilliant. I mean, you just have to be brilliant to create these movies.
Let's go over details again. So your event, Shelley, starts Friday, but how many film crews are you going to have?
We have 25 teams signed up. Yeah,
That's amazing.
We're keeping it small for a start. The one we had in the summer, we had 56 teams.
Oh, wow.
And we are all over the world in 120 cities around the world. And in Paris, for instance, it's huge there. They have about 200 teams. So that just gives you an idea of the scope of the project.
Okay, so those teams are going to go shoot, and then when can everybody see the work?
They can come see the work at the Chemo on Sunday, October 27th. And they can get their tickets at holdmyticket.com or the Chemo box office.
And it's only $10, you said, right?
Right.
$10 for
lots of
several
horror
movies.
movies.
That's right.
That's going to be so much fun.
Wonderful. And Ashley, your event is when?
It's October 24th through the 26th at South Broadway, and again, you can get tickets for that event on Hold My Ticket or the South Broadway box office. And if you buy a single showing ticket, that's going to be $7. We do have increasing price scale based on if you want to attend all 3 days or not. And then also we're going to be having acting workshops and things like that, so anybody who's interested in film. We also are going to have a 48-hour workshop to give tips and tricks on how to do the 48 the right way. So
That's really cool. Well, maybe Larry and I can get casted in a horror movie, and we'll probably get killed in the first minute, but it could be fun.
Sure.
Oh, wow.
Why not? Yeah,
You're
you never
available.
know.
We'll tell all the filmmakers.
There you go.
Something happens to the hosts on the TV show.
If anybody
or
wants to
something.
kill off Larry and Aaron, just give us a
now's
call.
your chance. Now's your chance. One more question for you guys before we wrap up here. Okay, you're going to sit down, you're going to watch your favorite horror flick. Which is it? Ooh.
I really like Fright Night. It's a really great, the original.
The original, yeah.
I know they did the remake here, and that's fantastic that they brought film to New Mexico, but there is nothing that beats the original Fright Night.
I agree.
Fright Night. And Shelley, what about yours?
I like the psychological thrillers that don't have a lot of blood and gore, so something like Sixth Sense.
That was scary.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
It just creeps you out.
Freddy Krueger is probably the worst for me. I think the first time I watched it was Home Alone. The whole blood out of the bed scene. I was like, oh my God.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because one of our guests is Amanda Weiss. She played Tina in the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
There you go. All right. 2 projects, the New Mexico Fright Fest and the 48-hour film horror project, both going on around Halloween.